In this video tutorial, we will learn about the concept of constructor and destructor in Python. These two words, constructor and destructor, are associated with object-oriented programming. So let's start with the constructor. Constructor is the special function that is automatically executed when an object of a class is created. I have already introduced the concept of class and object in my previous videos. Python init function is to act as a constructor. So whenever we create an object of a class, this init method or the function is called automatically. The task of constructor is to initialize and assign values to the data member of the class when an object of the class is created. That means this init method simply declare a member variable and initialize with some default value. Other than member variable initialization, no other code are allowed to write within this init method. Look at the syntax of a constructor. Suppose here we have a class and it has some class name, and within this class here is the init method. Init method is suffixed and prefixed by a double underscore. Since it is a one kind of function, so we have to write a def in front of init method. Since this init method belongs to this class, so we have to write self. This is the syntax, and it may or may not accept arguments or parameters. And within the body of this init method, we have to initialize all the member variable of the class. Now let me show you a concrete example. Suppose we have a rectangle class. The name of the class is rectangle, and it has a init method which is accepting two parameters x and y. And within the init method, there are two variables length and breadth, and it is written with this self keyword. So the variable which are written with the self, these are called a member variable, and x, y are called the local variable. So these two local variables accept some number from outside and initialize the member variable length and breadth respectively. And this init method is nothing but the constructor. So from now on, we call it as a constructor. Why it is called constructor? Because when we create an object of this class, suppose we are creating R1 and R2, these two objects of the same class rectangle, the init method is called automatically for both the objects. Suppose here I have written R1 equal to rectangle 12 and 10. So this 12 and 10 will pass to x and y of the constructor or the init method. This x, y in return initialize the member variable length and breadth respectively. So at the time of object creation, the init method construct the two variable length and breadth with the values 12 and 10. So that's why init method is called constructor. It constructs the object. In the same way, it is also constructing the second object R2. This time the value of x and y are 20 and 50. Let's try a different example in interpreter. Writing constructor in Python program. Suppose we have a class named as point, and here is the constructor double underscore init double underscore self, and it accepts two parameters x and y. Now look, if we do not assign values for x and y, so the default value will be 0, 0. That means if we do not pass any value to this parameter, so this xy will be considered as 0. Now within the init method, let me write self equal to self.x equal to x and self.y equal to y. So the member variable x and y are initialized with the local variable x and y. And we all know that a point is represented by two axes x and y. Now let me define a function get coordinate, and within this get coordinate, here I have to write self because this function belongs to this point class. That's why I am writing self. No more parameter is required over here. Under this get coordinate function, let me print the coordinate given coordinate bracket self.x comma self.y, and then the parenthesis close. Now let's write the main code. Here is the main code, and within the main code, suppose I'm creating an instance of point class. So this is pt1. This is nothing but the object pt1, and here is the class name, and within this, suppose I am sending 5 and 10 as x and y. So this 5 and 10 will pass to this constructor x and y. So we do not have to call it explicitly. Whenever an object of a class is created, this init method is automatically called, and this 510 will be passed to the xy parameter, and this xy parameter will again initialize the member variable x and y. So whenever we are sending values to the constructor, so this 0 will be suppressed or ignored. Now if I write pt2 equal to point, bracket open, bracket close, so I have not mentioned any values within the parentheses. So in this case, x and y will be initialized with zeros. So these zeros will again initialize the member variable x and y. Now if I write pt1 dot get coordinate, and at the same time we like to display the next point, that is point 2, and for that also I am writing get coordinate. Now let's run the program. Look, the first point is 5,10 and the next point is 0,0. So whenever we are creating the object of the point class, this init method is called automatically, and it constructs the two objects with the respective values. That's why init method is called constructor. So here I am writing constructor. Now let me do one thing. Suppose I am creating another point pt3, and it is initialized with say pt1. That's mean we are copying an object to another object. So let's print the ID of these three objects, pt1, pt2 and pt3. Let's see. Look, object pt1 and pt2, point 1 and point 2 are the two different objects, and in case of pt3 we are initializing pt1 within the object pt3. That means pt3 is pointing to the same object pt1, so that's why their IDs are also same. That means point 1 and point 3 are not the two different objects, they are identical, they are pointing to the same memory location. So in this way we can create multiple objects or the multiple point of the class point. Now the question is, what will happen when we do not require this point or the object? The Python has garbage collector which will help us to remove all these objects created after the program ends. Still, we can write our own destructor. Destructor means which will destroy the object which are created or exist within the memory. So let's start with destructor. Python destructor is also a special method that gets executed automatically when an object exits from the scope. In Python, del method or the function is used as the destructor. Del method is also suffixed and prefixed with double underscore. Look at the syntax. Here is a class named as class name, and within this class if we write def underscore underscore del underscore underscore, here is a self for the syntax and no more parameters are required. And within the body we can write any message for the deleted object. In Python, destructor are not needed because Python has garbage collector that handles memory management automatically. But still, if you want to write the destructor of your own, you can include it in your program. Let me show you how to write the destructor of our own. Let's take the same code. So here I have already written the point class, and it has a constructor and a function get coordinate which display the coordinate of the point. Here I have created 2 point 1 and point 2, and it displays the coordinate of the 2 points, and the first point has been initialized within pt3, and we don't require this ID. Let me delete it. Now if I want to see the coordinate of point 3, so here I have to write like this, pt3 dot get coordinates. Let's run the program. So here are the 3 coordinates, but the first one and the third one are identical and the middle one is the different. Now look, here I will add a destructor over here. I have to write like this, def underscore underscore del underscore underscore self. That's all. And within this destructor, let me write a class name. This is a variable, and here I am writing self dot underscore underscore class underscore underscore name underscore underscore. So this is an inbuilt variable name which will display the name of the class for which the object is getting deleted. And in the next line, let's print the class name, then destroyed. Now within the main code, if I write del pt1, so that's mean point 1 will be deleted from the memory. At the same time, we are deleting pt2. So by using the del command, we can delete any object that are already exist within the memory. But if we write our own destructor, then whenever we run this command del, so it will call the user defined destructor. Along with the deletion, it will display the message written by us. One thing, there is a mistake. It will be _dot. So this is an inbuilt variable class which represent the current class and name. It will print the corresponding class name. It will return the corresponding class name and initialize within class names. And the value of the class name will be displayed in the next line, and then the destroyed message. So look at the diagram at the right hand side. There are 2 points pt1 and pt2, and this is the diagrammatic representation of the coordinate. Now when we initialize pt3 with the pt1, that's mean pt3 is nothing but the pt1 points. So point 1 and point 3 points to the same object. They are not different. Now here I have written del pt1 and in the next line del pt2. Now to delete this object, we need to delete both pt1 and pt3. Since pt3 is referring to this object, so by deleting pt1 we cannot delete this object. To delete this object, we have to delete all the reference which is pointing to this object. But in the next line del pt2, this object is pointed by a single reference variable, that is pt2, and this object point pt2 object will be deleted as soon as the del pt2 command is executed. Look at the output. Look, point destroyed has been displayed for the del pt2. We didn't get any effect for del point 1. If you delete point 1, still this object is referred by the variable pt3. That's why destructor has not been called over here. This point destroyed message is displayed for this del point 2. Now to delete the first object, we need to delete pt1 as well as pt3. Look at the code. If I write del pt3, save the file and run, look what happened. Look at the output. So in the last line, pt3 has been deleted. That's mean this pt3 has been deleted. So all the reference to this object has been deleted. That's why this object has been removed from the memory. So to delete an object from the memory, we need to delete all the reference which are referring to that object. Since the second object is pointed by pt2 only, so by deleting pt2, we can delete the second object in one shot. So this del function is nothing but the destructor. So whenever you do object-oriented programming, you have to use constructor, but the destructor is optional. If you do not write any destructor, this destructor will be written or generated by the interpreter automatically. This is all for this video. If you still have any queries, write it down in the comment box. I will try to reply you back. Thank you.